So I never thought I would stoop to this level, making my own video essay on Neon Genesis Evangelion. God, I feel like I'm a living meme. But I finally decided to watch the show for the first time, and boy, do I have some opinions about this show. By the way, this video really isn't a video essay. I just really wanted to talk about my experience watching this show for the first time and my many hot takes. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to be making the assumption that most of you have already watched this show, so no holding back on the spoilers, okay? Alright, so let's start with my overall opinion of the show. And frankly, I really liked selective parts of this anime, but I also really hated other parts of the show. But then again, the fact that I finished it in the first place should really say something. There's one thing you guys need to know about me: I've just passively always hated mech anime. So it was good enough to never have me drop the show. Although I won't front, the last 2 episodes were like a coked out drug trip that had me barely hanging on by a thread sometimes. More on that later. However, most of the anime I found myself wanting to move on to the next episode, despite some of the episodes being very slow. My first big curveball was actually with the character of Shinji. When he was first introduced, I definitely agreed with the meme that Shinji was just a whiny little bitch, but more and more into the anime, I low-key started to get him. Like legit, every time Shinji got into the Eva, that dude would experience things worse than freaking death. No duh, he doesn't want to get back into the mech. It's a living hell for him. Secondly, a kid experiencing that much depression and is forced into those kinds of situations where the fate of humanity is at stake, well, let's just say it wouldn't take that long for him to test his flying capabilities off the tallest building, if you catch my drift. The fact that Shinji survived everything that this show threw at him is frankly a miracle, and I'm surprised his development didn't harden him in any way. I mean, after all, that kid has seen some shit. Granted, I didn't watch the movie. I heard he does some creepy shit in there, but from the anime, he seemed like the most reasonable character out of the bunch. But before you guys start thinking I may be on your side, time to talk about what's definitely going to be my most controversial opinion. I thought the character of Asuka was kind of shitty. I know, she's a ton of people's best girl, but why? She's annoying, arrogant, and just plain useless towards the second half of the show. Now I get that her being useless and coming to terms with why she's really fighting is a whole arc in itself, and I did enjoy that character arc of hers, but come on man, how is she best girl? Damn, was this how slim the pickings were back in the day? I personally liked Rei a little better. I do feel like her arc kind of became predictable, which really sucked. I picked up on the fact that she was a clone by episode 8, and they were still whacking me over the head with the foreshadowing for another 10 episodes. I would have liked it if they had been a little bit more subtle, because then that reveal would have been really awesome. But nonetheless, that character arc was pretty solid, especially when she comes to terms with what she's piloting for in that crazy climactic fight. But another thing I need to get off my mind, God, this show is not subtle with its themes at all. I'm glad that this is one of those shows that really does explore each of the themes it presents fully, but damn man, I'm not in a psychology lecture class. Talk about being real subtle with the robots being their mother metaphor. Damn, I mean in episode 1, get in the amniotic fluid, Shinji, and connect all your nerves with your mother's, I mean the Eva. Come on, isn't that just, a little bit too on the nose? The last 2 episodes where they really explore the themes of value and having to learn to love oneself was great, if I was in a class and needed to be tested on it. It's literally told to you word by word in this fever dream that feels like a coked out drug trip. And like I said, I think the exploration was thorough, but I would have loved it if it were explored in the media itself through metaphors instead of whatever the hell is happening here. I know it's explained this is the cause of whatever Shinji's father was working on, so it's part of the anime, but to me it just felt, I don't want to say it, but fuck it, I will. It felt like a bit of a cop-out. I'm sure I'm gonna hear all about this in my comments. Speaking of which, what the hell is Shinji's father? I'm so confused by his character. At first, I thought he was a pretty interesting character, but Like, was he a jerk or something? Like, clearly he abused a lot of the women around the workplace, but that's never really explored. Is he a hero? Is he a villain? Is he just a piece of shit? Like, I would have really loved to know more about his character, but he just doesn't get much meaningful screen time. Speaking of which, I feel like it's the same way with Shinji's friends. I actually really liked Shinji's friend group, but after the arc with Toji, they just kind of all vanish. Like, legit, I don't think they come back until the last 2 episodes in the Fever Dream. I get that they say the reasoning is that they had to evacuate, but it just feels like something was overlooked. I don't know, it just felt wrong. Oh shit, I just looked it up. Apparently Toji dies in that scene in the manga. That makes more sense, but I still wish that the entire cast of characters didn't just up and vanish. Oh yeah, and the character of Karo. He just shows up like at the very end of the anime, and frankly, I actually really liked him. I just wish we had more than like an episode and a half with him. I mean, it's obvious that he's secretly evil, but they weren't exactly trying to hide it either. I just would have enjoyed some more time to get attached to him before he's killed off. Like, ironically enough, he was probably my favorite character of the anime. I also liked Misato and Kaiji. I think Kaiji's redemption arc was well done, but I didn't care for how after he dies, Misato is like heavily affected by it, then probably gets like 0 screen time during her recovery. It's just kind of glossed over. Oh, and freaking Ritsuko. Can we just pretend like she doesn't exist? Like, she is the most useless character in the anime. Like, I get it's supposed to be a betrayal of friendship between Ritsuko and Misato, but it just felt really weak. Ritsuko was a character who I just could never find myself to care for, and frankly, if she was written out of the series entirely, I don't think anything would have changed. Overall, I didn't hate the show. I felt like it wasn't a waste of my time to watch it. However, is it worth the crazy hype everyone puts behind it? Of course not. I knew that going in, and frankly, if I had gone into the show with crazy high expectations, I probably would have hated it. This show is put on a pedestal, and I get it. It's probably one of the only anime I've seen so thoroughly explore its themes. I definitely give it extra credit points for that. But that alone isn't enough to justify the hype that follows this show. So that's my hot take on Neon Genesis Evangelion. I'm sure literally no one will be writing a multi-paragraph long response in the comment after only watching 30 seconds of my video. But let me ask you this. Why do you write these comments? Do you believe they give you value, Shinji? Thank you guys for watching. A huge thank you to my patrons. You guys are my heroes. Make sure you guys share, like, comment, and subscribe. This is Manime Matt. Make sure you guys say man and go watch that goddamn anime.